In looking at the future prosperity of the United States and the remainder of this 21st century, we're going to have to look at widening the middle class, bringing people up out of poverty, setting more people upon a ground where they can move forward into greater provision for their family and themselves, and providing a legacy for their children and grandchildren, and just generally increasing the overall abundance of the country and the overall prospects for the country to grow. We're going to have to invest in growth, in the growth of the country in every way possible, so that that growth will provide more high-paying jobs. And that is done by investing in research and development, and investing in innovation and invention, not just being happy with where we are now, but being intent on developing many, many new innovations and new types of industry, and many, many new types of products that will serve people better and make their lives better, much better energy resources, and all these kinds of things that will provide better opportunities and higher paying jobs. So to do that, we need to invest more in our universities and colleges that teach engineering and math and science and things which will prepare students to move into areas of research and development. And then we need to actually invest as a government in our research and development, looking out 20 and 30 and 40 years ahead of time, putting money into investing for the future products down the road, and investing in the new medical technology that will lower the cost of medical care. A lot of having a futuristic vision of what we need to invest in order to prepare for the prosperity of the future, so that all of the investment doesn't just go into, trying to hold up our own, and hold it up to current industries or the current factories and companies and so on, but investing in developing new industries and new businesses and new ways of doing things, so that we'll have an ever up spiral of new products, services, and new scientific technology that will provide better and better services for everyone. And then that will also increase the retail outlook, because there'll be more and more products that'll be able to be sold, and then that will hire more people. The retail industry can hire more people and pay them more, because the products will demand more. Will bring an improvement in the outlook of the retail industries. Looking to develop medical equipment in a way that will greatly lower its cost, so that, and by that means, we can lower the cost of medical care. People will have more money to invest in on the future of their families, and put money away for the future, and invest in stocks and things like this, and invest in buying land, and invest in their housing and all these kind of things, not having to spend so much on either medical care or insurance or things like this for it. All these things will work together to make for a much more prosperous nation. And so by having that vision, as we were talking about, going up into the mountain and looking over and seeing a promised land of greater prosperity, by doing that, we know exactly where to invest dollars, and that will bring the best result in actually turning into increased prosperity for the future, and actually growing the economy more and more each day that goes by. A growing economy will raise the wages of all people. Growing economy will cause greater opportunity, better occupations, better careers, and a greater future for everyone involved. When we look at things like raising the minimum wage, that can help in certain areas with certain people at certain times. but it is more or less a temporary fix, because if the overall economy doesn't continue to grow and people just get stuck in minimum wage jobs, then just raising the minimum wage a little is not going to help all that much. Because that's one of the reasons why we're having the problem today, is because too many people are stuck in these minimum wage jobs because there's not any other opportunity, and there's nothing else that they can move into, no high paying jobs that they can move into, because we haven't invested enough in the research and the development of things which will cause the industries to be able to flourish, that are producing these goods and services, that are producing these new things that are being invented and innovated, the new take advantage of the new outlook toward innovation, and therefore providing a higher wages for people. So what we need to do then is look at all the ways that we can say, what industry can we develop? And first of all, of course, how to keep the industries that we have already from all leaving and going overseas due to too many taxes and too many regulations. But once we learn how to keep our industries here, then we need to learn to develop more and better industries, of which will be able to pay a higher living wage to people. And the more active they are, and the more they're innovating, and the more they're inventing, and the more they're developing new technology all the time, the higher higher wages they'll be able to pay to the workers. And the more high-paying careers people will be able to develop in the areas of engineering and technology. So we have to invest in our colleges and universities that provide engineering courses, prepare future engineers, prepare future researchers, people that are going into development of new things, discovering new things, inventing new things, finding new ways to lower the cost of medical care, finding new cures for diseases, lowering the cost of medical care, bringing all these added costs down, bringing the cost of energy down by developing new technologies that will provide lower cost energy, bringing all these things down so that people don't have so much outgo from their income in the first place. And then after that, providing them plenty of occupations and careers that they can go into that will pay a high wage, that will be a high-paying career, and more high-paying careers, more jobs that pay people well above the minimum wage, whatever that minimum wage will be. Thus providing more opportunities for those who want to rise out of the lower levels and out of the lower middle classes into much more prosperous ways of living. This is something that is going to take planning, and it's going to take education just to be able to understand how to do all these things. We've got to invest in our education. We've got to increase it. We've also got to lower the cost of education so that it can can get more people involved in preparing for these areas. People shouldn't have to pay so much just to be able to become an engineer. If they're willing to invest their lives in being an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer or something that's going to increase the quality of life for everybody in the country, then they should be able to get into a university that will prepare them for that without having to end up taking a loan out that will cost so much that they'll be paying for it the rest of their lives. All these things will also increase people's standard of living, because they won't have so much outgo and paying off loans. The loans and so forth is that. And so we'll have more people going to college and getting these degrees, becoming engineers and becoming research scientists, and they'll be working together to develop new products and new devices, new technology. And all these new devices, new technology, and new products will go to provide much better and more high-paying industries that will be able to spring up in the country. And if we don't overregulate them, they'll be able to survive and flourish in this country and provide a higher standard of living for our people. So these are things that we need to look at towards the future, and more than just we can consider what we're going to do in certain areas about getting the minimum wages up some, or providing somehow another an ascending pay scale a little bit better for people in certain poor areas, and investing like that in better jobs for them in those poor areas, more empowerment for people in areas that have very little opportunity to achieve real empowerment, and have very little opportunity to go up the scale, to be upward mobile. But then overall, as a country, we're going to have to invest in many more high-paying careers and professions and opportunities of every kind in every area, increasing the overall welfare and overall prosperity and abundance of everyone in the country. Looking at overturning every rock as to what we can invest in that will bring future prosperity. Even if it takes 20 years of planning and investing in order to produce that industry that will provide that higher pay, and it will provide superior products and services, and increase the ability to provide for people medical-wise, and provide for their health care, and provide for all their other needs. We should be willing to do that. We should be willing to invest with a long-term vision, getting a long-term vision for what the country can be, do, and have as a whole. Getting a long-term vision of what the people can do, and just how high a scale they will be able to live on. Just how high a standard can we raise this country to? What can be that high standard? Is there any particular standard that we need to stop with, or should we always be trying to have a vision of how can we raise the standard of living for all people in the country, from the poorest to the richest? Ever increasing our investment and our striving to improve that standard of living in every way possible, including investing more in our colleges and universities, and including providing more community colleges that are very low cost to students to get in and begin trying to see what career they want to get into, learning what's available, starting to take classes that will prepare them for engineering careers, for mathematical careers, for science careers, for getting them started in developing and learning about what possible medical career that they might go into, the possible career in business or in industry that they might go into, getting them started in their own local area so that they don't have to go too far in order to find out what they want to be working on. So I'm going to continue to look at this vision of a brighter future, going to that mountaintop, looking over to the promised land and seeing the brighter future of this country and how we can invest to assure that brighter future, and what all we can invest in. So I'm going to pray right now that you will get an ever higher and higher vision of what this country can be, what can do it, how we can bring all the races and classes together to provide a better future for this country. And if there be anybody sick or ill that needs to be raised up, healed of any disease, curable or incurable, God is a God of healing all people of every disease, type of disease, curable and incurable. And we're going to pray, Father, in the name of thy Holy Son, Jesus, that you will raise people up out of sickness and illness, deliver them from all sense of obsession, oppression, or depression, or sense of either blues or being down in a valley of hopelessness, and raise them up to a high mountain of hope and vision. They can see that each and every individual in this country can improve their lot, can improve their vision, and can improve their ability to make more money and be more prosperous and provide more for their future families and provide a legacy for themselves. Everyone can become involved in that. And I pray now that you will provide that for people. Heal people now. Give them greater joy, greater peace, greater happiness in their lives. I pray in the name of thy Holy Son, Jesus. Amen and amen and amen.